People who refuse to give back as much as they receive in a relationship are like a gardener and a flower. Love is as essential in relationships as water is to life. The gardener waters the flower, asking for just one thing in return, its petals to brighten her home, but the flower refuses. She gives water, but it only sprouts leaves. She adds fertilizer, but the flower grows more roots. She asks kindly for petals, but instead the flower grows thorns that prick her. Still, the flower refuses. So the gardener stops watering altogether, and the flower asks, "Where is my water?" Weeks pass and the flower is left to face pests and the harsh elements. It continues to ask, "Where is my water?" But the gardener has moved on, tending to plants that appreciate her care and give her the one thing she's ever asked for, petals. And so the flower that refuses to bloom wilts at the stem, choosing to wither rather than bloom for the gardener. And this is the dynamic of a world void of cooperation and love, where giving is met with refusal and relationships crumble in the absence of mutual care. Hello and welcome to the Developed and the Dormant, the podcast where I share stories, reflections, and insights to inspire self-development and growth in ourselves and others. I'm your humble yet entertaining host, Daryl Minor. In this episode, I'm opening up about my journey through friendships, connections, and the struggles of being an extrovert in a world that seems to have turned inward. From my experiences with people who've come and gone to how societal shifts like the pandemic and dating apps have shaped communication. I'll be sharing lessons I've learned, the pain of disconnection, and why I still believe in the power of meaningful bonds. Are you willing and able to listen? Then come with me as I delve into the highs and lows of seeking what seems to be lost in this day and age, authenticity, and what it means to stay true to oneself in a disconnected world. You know, friendship, love, and happiness, connections with others is something that I have always desired, something that I have always wanted. The biggest part I feel of my life, and that it is so hard to imagine that I would ever be okay and accept that that's not in my destiny. Because while I accept my life the way it must be, whatever is best for me and for my greater path in life, I don't think I will ever be happy if I simply cannot have what humans and all of us most desire and need: love and connections. This world is not meant for us to do things and go at everything alone. We all need someone to lean on. We all need someone in our corner. But I tell you, the way Whitney Houston said it, the way I put it in my song Rotate, I'd rather be alone than unhappy. You're not hear me. I'd rather be alone than unhappy. And I cannot continue to exert myself and be there for people when they can't give the same thing back. Let's be clear on that. There are so many people who go through this world as people pleasers. They go through this world as giving all of themselves, leaving nothing of themselves, self-sacrificing themselves. I've never been that type of person to give so much of myself that I'm suffering. I've been more of a person that gives so much and wonders, where is that same amount of love in return? There was a time where I never wanted to be alone. There was a time where I felt that I was afraid to be alone. I was scared to be alone because it felt lonely. It felt hard to be at it alone. I didn't want to live alone. I didn't want to travel alone. I didn't want to be without somebody, right? I needed someone. There was a moment where I had an old friend, and I said to my mother, I said, if we stop being friends, she is the last friend that I have, because I had let everyone else go. My mother said, it's not about what a person does for you, because I questioned our friendship. She says it's not about what a person does for you, because everyone can do all sorts of things for you, but that doesn't mean they're there for you. That doesn't mean they love you. And it was hard. I always questioned, is it right for me to keep her around? But it's all about that feeling. It's all about that internal guide that you have, right? What I think is so difficult, and what I don't think many people understand, and I'm calling out to anybody who listens, anyone who feels the same. Are there any extroverts out there? Are there any of you left? Because I haven't seen you. Where are my people? It gets to the point where I feel that anytime I do see another extrovert, I am so filled with joy, because there are so many introverts. If you ask your neighbor, what are you? Most of the people are going to say introverted, or they're going to say ambiverted, in between. But I have not seen another extrovert since the month of June. And if there's any of you out there listening to this, here's another thing that I want to make clear. What I feel is I am a minority. I feel that I am no longer the majority. In this day and age, in the way things work, in the way things function, people are okay and comfortable and happy with being closed off and to themselves. I feel as though even to speak on this, I'm opening myself up for fire, opening myself up to be attacked, because I feel as though introverts feel that you should be accepting of and understanding of how we feel. I understand that antisocialism and introversion and, folks who are more so mean and closed off, those things don't go hand in hand. But in my experience, it feels like that is all that I see. It is so common to be a homebody, to stay indoors, to be wrapped up in a blanket, listening to your music. I get that. Everybody needs that. But that becomes your lifestyle. To go into grocery stores and have earbuds and headphones on to avoid communicating with people. To not, I understand we all need a break, because as an extrovert, I feel I need a break from talking to people too. I get it. But it feels like that's on the high. Bad social batteries are so limited. Your fuses are so short. And then, it trickles down to people in every day-to-day life, customer service, people who talk to you, and 1 minute there's joy and laughter, and then in half a second, your social battery has run out. My own sister, what happens is this type of energy, this type of mindset, this type of behavior is so, I don't know if rampant is the right word, but it's so excessive that she feels that no one understands her. She feels that this way of an introvert has almost in a way claimed her life, because no one gets her, no one's understanding. She needs her space. She needs her space. And I claimed her as my best friend when we were younger. Now my sister doesn't have but 20 minutes from me because she's got to get away. My extroverted behavior seems to be too loud for some of these people. When I don't feel that I do anything wrong, I'm very friendly, I'm very sweet, I'm very loving, nurturing, but it seems that my character is too much. And I get that. Not everybody is for everybody, of course. But going back to what I said, are there any extroverts out there? Right? Because if I feel like a minority, everyone can resonate with being an introvert. And my questions and my feelings, it makes me feel like there is no one for me. Where is anyone for me to connect with? It feels like it doesn't matter where I go. That is the standard of today. And for me to offer a different opinion, I fear is to be met with not aggression, but judgment. That these are the people that lead our today, right? Because what's happened is the pandemic has pushed everyone into their homes, and it has changed the way we communicate with each other, especially with these devices, these tablets, these phones, this social media. We are more connected than ever and more disconnected than ever. That a face-to-face conversation is feared. It's resented. It's more palatable to hide than it is to talk face-to-face. And that is what we're missing. When we take this aspect out of our lives, what are we left with? This is not the way humans were meant to be. If you look back even to what we were from the beginning, when we turned from hunter-gatherers to building societies, it is so essential that we have a community. But what type of community can we have if it is preferred to hide behind shadows, to hide behind screens, and any person that represents the past, represents what we ought to be, is snuffed out and hated? Then where does that leave someone like me? It makes me wonder, it makes me question, where will I be in this society when these people are at the top and I'm at the bottom, and we begin to change society so it better suits introverts? Where will people like me be? Right? How are we expected or able to make connections and friendships and relationships and bonds when the preferred method of communication is limited, short, not desired? People are fearful. It started to trickle down, right? Because I have seen how this type of way of life has started to affect me. When I was when I was in elementary school and middle school, I used to be a person who waved at anyone and everyone. I smiled, I laughed. Hi, how are you? How are you doing? I love your dress. I love your earrings. You look nice. I love your cologne, your whatever. And people would respond. There was a kindness. There was a sweetness. Not even in school, like in public, I could do these things and people would respond wonderfully, positively. Today, when I do this, there's a coldness. There's a meanness. There's a bitterness. There's a sourness. Now, granted, at the same time, St. Louis is a barren land. It is a barren land with a lot of bitterness. And there are a lot of other factors, of course. But in regards to what I'm talking about connections, it's not the same. It feels like when you are to compliment someone, they'll turn their nose up at you. They give you a very dry thanks. It's not what it used to be. And I think that, the way that this society, this coldness has changed me is the way I used to wave and speak to people. Now I find myself ignoring people. I find myself resisting a hello, resisting speaking to some people. And, I would say thank you and I'm sorry. And there was a kindness that I used to have that I have retracted today. And I realized lately that this is not who I am. This is not what I want to be. I am an extrovert. I'm a people person. I'm bright. I'm shining. Even on the song that I wrote, Open Arms, on Monday, that was supposed to be in contrast to this New Zealand singer, Kimbra. She wrote a song called I Just Need My Personal Space. It was called Personal Space. My song, Open Arms, on Monday was supposed to be a contrast to that, because that is our life. That is our day-to-day society. Introversion. I need to get away from you. I can't be around you. That's not who I want to be. And that's not who I am. And I don't feel like it is right for me to allow society and what is the standard of society to dictate the way that I choose to show up in the world. And I would encourage anyone else who is an extrovert and is struggling with building connections, if there is anyone who feels that, I suppose, not accepted, for me at least, I'm going to continue to be this shining light. And if my light is too much for you or too bright, I don't feel that it's right for me to have to tone myself down to be accepted or to be friends with people. It's not fair. Now, again, that's also not to say that introverts and extroverts can't be friends. But as I see so many jokes, so many things on TikTok, I saw a joke on TikTok where there was an introvert who was minding their business and their social battery was charging by reading books, spending time in nature, right? But that's not how we extroverts get our energy. We get our energy from speaking to one another. So the joke was an extrovert came before them and just like sucked the life out of them and their energy bar was going up, right? Even though that's a joke, it's the idea that we are supposed to be some creatures. We're not desired. We're the minority, like I said. And then I read the comments and they're like, stay back. Oh, you all are too much. It's like, why? That's not fair. What are we left with? This, I feel, is so essential to point this out. What are we left with? Where am I supposed to be? What place do I have in this society? My sister told me that this society is not built for her and that it's not built for me either. I'm not so sure about that. I feel that her world is taking over and there's no place for me. Aside from introversion, which I think that this next piece could also go hand in hand, I have seen so much lack of openness. I've seen so many people that are afraid of being vulnerable. So many people who are afraid of being hurt that, I've been through it. I've been through that pain. I have given a lot to people. There was a girl at one of the jobs that I worked. She told me that her life was like a sitcom and the way things happened. And the people that came into her life were like characters that added to her story. She asked what was mine. I said, mine felt like a book and the pages and the stories. And she asked, what type of people are your main characters to your story? I said, no one stays and no one has stayed. People in my life have come and gone. And it's been a painful ride. It's been one of the things that I have desired the most. It's a battle. There's been a lot of tears, a lot of woes, a lot of prayers, a lot of advice, seeking guidance, comfort, help. And the reality is there's something so much bigger. But what I've learned is that, the right connections will open when they are meant to. It's not something you can force because you cannot make someone love you. You cannot make someone show up for you. I used to be the type of person in high school and college, I would get someone's number and text them and blow up their phone. Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you talking to me? Why don't you put in this effort? And I realized how silly that was, that you cannot force someone to be there for you. And when I finally came out of that and realized all of this happens in divine timing and everything will happen the way and in the time it is meant to happen, I realized that I no longer needed someone to travel with. I no longer needed someone to live with. I no longer needed someone to be friends with, to hang out with. There's a beauty in doing things alone, but at the same time, you're not meant to do everything alone. But I understand it now. So I come at things from a place of love. I used to get people's numbers because I was afraid of being alone. Now, if I ask you for your number, it's because I genuinely want to have a connection with you, right? But I can do all the self-work on myself, but that does not mean the world around me has changed. The only person you can change is yourself, and the pieces will fall where they may, but that does not mean that the world is ready to change with you. Because as I have developed myself, but I look at everyone around me, I have seen more people that are afraid to open up and be vulnerable than I hoped I would in a lifetime. Let's speak clear. There are so many people who I've come in contact with lately who still refer to me as their work friend. People who, no, I don't want to hang out with you. I've been hurt in the past. I'm afraid that you're going to hurt me. I don't give my numbers out to anyone. I don't trust people. I don't trust people. I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. The thing about that is, I get it. I've been where all these people have been. I shut myself out from the world too. But in the meantime, while you keep your walls so high so that nothing can get over, you miss the opportunities that are on the other side. Now, I heard that somewhere, and it couldn't be more clear. But the way I do it, the way I internalize that, is while you're so busy keeping everyone out, you never know where life is going to take you and the beautiful things that can transpire. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Everything is meant to happen for a reason. And the way India Ari said, every relationship is a lesson. There's something to be learned in every connection. But if you're afraid of how another person can hurt you because you don't trust them, what good could come from that? You have no idea. There are risks that are worth taking. I don't fear rejection. I don't fear being hurt. Because if you can't, I will find someone who can. You all's opinions, anybody who has wronged me. I've been through the fire and the rain since I was in middle school. People have come and gone that this is like clockwork. It's not something I want to add to my personality, but it's something that makes you tougher. But closing yourself off to the world is not the way to do it. You will miss your life and you will let so many beautiful things pass you by if you lock everyone out from your life. And the way I see it is I have tried to show some of these people that I care, tried to show that I love them, tried to show them that they can trust me, but it's not something I can do for you. I will give you 100% of me if I declare you one of mine. That's another thing that I said in one of my songs. I said that on Same Places, Different Faces, and that song relates to Rotate. It's really like part 2, right? I give you so much, but why do I have to get 15% back? I give you 100% of me. Why am I only getting 2%? And you benefit from these things that I give you. Some of these people, you benefit from the care, from the motivation, from the gifts, from the candy, from the clothes, from the love, from the hugs and kisses. You benefit from this. But when it comes down to it, and I come before you and ask, can I have some of this love back? No, I just think that you're going to hurt me. No, baby. I'm not the gift that keeps giving. I'm the gift that's here today as a special offer, and if not taken in the season it is presented, will be gone the next day. You've been so sweet. I can't keep calling and keep asking. I can't keep making efforts for people who cannot provide. But this is our world. But I'll be the light, and I encourage others to be that same light that we need. Because if we can't be it, and we just descend into a world of darkness. That's not a world I can live in. And sorry, dearest, I can't be there with you. I can't be there with you. I will continue to be great, and I encourage others to be great with me. You know, I used to be a person that always made the effort first. I would always be the person who asked for your number first. Do you want to go get Starbucks? Do you want to hang out? Let's go do this. Let's go do that. But I realized that here I am being a person that's trying to make temporary people who are here for a season permanent. I'm trying to make temporary people permanent. But here's the thing, that other people who are the gems in the rut have had to remind me. The truth is, and it's so true, everybody is on their own journey. Everybody's going at their own pace and going their own way. And what I have always known to myself and had to remind myself is that when you grow, not everyone can come with you. And it's so sad because you can see the potential. You see where things could be better, but you choose not to do it. Because it's all out of fear, worry, doubt, trauma. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. If I offer you a means to grow, I would encourage you to take it. But you have to go at it alone. And that's what I had to realize for myself. I had to go at my things my own way in my own time. It's hard though, because everyone becomes a revolving door. Everyone goes through a revolving door. They're here for a day, then they're gone. And just like I said in my song, Rotate, I thought you'd stay around for a good minute, and now you're gone. But see, I value every lesson. So I valued everything you said, but I don't want you anymore. I'm glad you're gone, right? You took a lot out of me. A friend only seems to last for a season. It goes on and on. Everything fell on the floor. And what I meant by that was that all of this fakery that was built up on lies, something so superficial, something so stagnant that wasn't real, it was all going to collapse. Like the tarot card, the tower. When something's built on rocky foundation, it's going to crumble. And then we rotate again, right? But the truth is, I would rather be alone than unhappy. I'd rather be by myself, staring at four walls and no one to call, no one to hang out with, than to be friends with someone who doesn't value me, doesn't appreciate me, belittles me, talks about me behind my back when I don't even know it. Someone who's putting 2% effort into the friendship, doing just enough to keep you around, but I don't really care about you. What is that worth? No, where is the what? The authenticity. I need it. I need the real. I need the truth. Right? Do you even really like me? Or do you just want my energy? Like I say, everywhere I've been through in life, everything I've been through and everywhere I have been, I see, it's like I say, this is the beauty of life, of realizing where you've been, the synchronicities, the patterns, understanding people, their qualities, their personalities, and their personality types. You start to see patterns. You start to see the same person in a different skin when you go through life. And every bad moment, every good moment, every quality, you take that, you pick it up, you use it, you take it to your arsenal, and you're prepared for the next time. And every single one comes with different battles and different challenges. When I was in middle school, there was this girl named Alexis. We had a good time. We loved to be around each other. We loved to laugh, have fun, joke. But there came a time when she started to show me, I didn't realize it at the time, but she showed me that she was dramatized because there were two instances where she created a problem between me and some other people just to get a laugh. Now, what type of sense is that? What type of friend that you laugh and kick it with is so into the mess that they want to decide to create some mess that you're in the middle of? Granted, we're kids, but this is setting the stage. Then I get to high school, and this girl, whom what she said, I'll never forget it. First, let me say she was just like Alexis. We laughed, we chatted, wanted to be together in each other's company, hanging out, right? But she started to show her true colors because there was some drama, an argument, we fell out. And then everything seemed to get back on track, but she didn't really care because she created issues for me to be in the middle of so she can get a laugh. And here I am in class, and somebody told me that she said, I don't like Daryl. I tolerate him. Stuck with me forever. Because now I feel if anybody feels like they have to tolerate me, you don't have to talk to me at all, dearest. Because I don't want to be anywhere I'm tolerated. I want to be somewhere I'm accepted and loved. But this is a person who loves mess, right? Let's be clear about that. And I feel as though there was a moment where we were at gym where we talked through our problems and we gave each other a hug. And I never forget it. I truly feel, and I told my mother this when I went home that day, I truly feel that once we hugged, I feel like behind my back she rolled her eyes like she didn't really care. And that just shows it just shows people's true intentions coming out. Then I go to college. Another girl named Valerie. We had a great time, but she was wondering why I couldn't show up for her in the same way that she had shown up for me. The reality is, I felt judged by her. I felt because she thought that I wasn't black enough for her. I didn't want to go and see Black Panther twice. I didn't want to, wear a dashiki. I didn't want to draw black or brown-skinned figures in my art the same way she did. I felt judged, criticized. And she's wondering why I want to distance myself from her. And it seems to me like my way of removing myself from someone is to stop speaking. Because another thing a girl said to me back when I was in high school, she told me she just gets away. She gets away and she doesn't try to have a conversation or try to, squash anything because you cannot explain everything to everybody. They're not always going to get it. That stuck with me. Though I feel like I've taken that same quality and perception and probably abused it because that is my motive or my method to distancing myself from someone is to just stop talking and just get away. I don't try to talk anything out. I don't try to have a conversation. I just get away. I just stop talking because I feel as though people don't understand me. And people will often, like I said, the accountability is nowhere to be found. There's too many people that love to point fingers. You, what about you? You didn't do this. What about you? Nobody wants to say, well, I could have done better. I could have changed. I'm sorry if I made you feel right, because everyone wants to be strong. everyone doesn't want to let the side down. Everyone wants to be, seen as tough. To apologize is to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable is to be opened up to weakness. To be weakness is to be a chance for someone to harm you. And it all trickles down. But for me, the key thing that's missing is if you can't say sorry or acknowledge what you did or show me that you cared about this connection, to even admit where you went wrong. Was it ever real? What does this say about what we are? What does this say about you? Because I can apologize. I'm not above apologizing. But what does it mean for me to open up and be vulnerable? If I can't expect the same from you, where's that 100% coming back from me? I need it. Where's the accountability? And this is why I said you're missing some pieces, right? What we do, what I said in Rotate, you don't know how to love me, or you're missing some pieces. The pieces required to have a full, thriving, happy relationship and connection. It's so simple. To me, so many things are simple in this world. And the request of love is not hard, but I understand there are some people who have not grown up with that same love. But that just makes me feel like if I keep running into the same person, where am I? Where is this world for me? And my fellow extroverts and my fellow people who give love and shine light in this world? Where's the space for us? Where's the accountability? I'm tired of looking at the same face in a different skin, in a different place, right? Where is that at? Now, I move on to Desiree, and this is a woman at another job that I worked, and we had a ball. We had a great time, right? But I often felt gaslighted, right? I would look to her for advice, comfort. I would call her granny, even though she wasn't, but she wasn't old or elderly, right? I'd say she's middle-aged, right? But while I find a better connection with older people, even in that, you can't expect to find the best type of care and consideration, because everyone has their own agendas and everyone has their own mindsets and plans. Because this is a woman who would give me advice about things that each time I listened to it, internalized it, or took action towards it, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And to question her was to be seen as I was too sensitive, too afraid to open up, too afraid to take risks. But it didn't feel like me. Then we get to the point where I said I wanted to go out with her, but she didn't feel like doing so. I understand, right? I really just wanted something to do. I said, let's go get food. She'd rather have that food delivered. I said, that's fine. I wanted to pay through PayPal rather than putting my card, but I did it on her phone. So being on her phone, it automatically switched to her PayPal, and it used her PayPal as payment. What comes next is she says to me through text, I need for you to send me back those $10, or however much it was at the time. I believe it was 10, 15, or 20. And she said, I didn't appreciate how you tried to steal money from me. That's another straw. You don't have to tolerate me. And it's another thing for you to accuse me of trying to steal from you. That's not who I am. But this is a person who's been traumatized. This is a person who's been hurt. This is a person who's been through a tumultuous divorce and marriage, abused and hurt in her childhood. So you come before me and you think that I've done the same thing to you as you have experienced in the past. I am not. whoever it is you all try to portray me as, I am, and I'll tell you who I am because nobody else can dictate or decide who that is. I am good to those who I consider a part of me. And to consider that I would try to steal from you because I asked, why would you think this after knowing you for 2 years? I don't know why anybody would do anything they would do. That's the wrong answer, dearest, because you've just shown me what you think. And that's not something I can be around. When I keep questioning, do I need to keep you in my life? Based off of the way that you gaslight me, the way you treat me based off of your trauma, that is not something you need to bring into a new connection. When you get into a connection, it needs to be out of love. Sorry, that's the only way that I'm going to stay. Right? And now, moving on to another job with other people, there's another guy with Corey. I saw potential in friendship with him. I saw a beauty. I saw a happiness that we could have had together. But this is a person who has dealt with people who have belittled him, made him out to be smaller, tried to trick him, deceit, this drama. I wanted to start something fresh with him. But instead, what I got was, no, I don't think I'm good enough. No, I can't. And you keep pushing me away. And I say, I understand you've been through pain. I understand that. But just give me whatever you got and we can work on that together. No, I just don't. And he didn't actually say no in that way, but he showed me. He showed me, if not the same type of personality as my ex. Someone who has been hurt and harmed and insecure and scared. And all the loving that I give and I show in this brightness. And he told me in his own words, and it could not be more true. Let's be clear. You're a good person. And I wouldn't do this to you because when good people are gone, they're really gone. Where am I now? Gone. Because I asked for something so simple from you. I didn't ask for the sun and moon. I didn't beg you. I didn't aggravate. I didn't scream. Why can't you give me attention? I asked you for some love. You didn't want to give it. And then I started to distance myself. He wondered, what did he do wrong? Someone came between us. He realized, oh, you're not actually mad at me. But that's just my excuse just to continue doing what I'm doing. Not fair. We talked about it. I said to him, my problem is I feel like I want to be your friend, but you don't want to be mine. He said, I do want to be your friend. I had to work. I was work. I'm tired. I was sleep. But here's the thing, dearest, and I want people to understand. There's not enough sleep in the world. There's not enough work in the world to keep being an excuse to avoid someone who loves you. It's not. You can't keep doing that. Because I explained to him, there are people who are married and divorce for neglect. I said, do you know people divorce for neglect? He said, yeah. So why in God's name do you think I'm going to continue to allow you to keep pushing me to the side when all I asked was a little bit of care and consideration? You're not hearing me. My mother always told me, never run up behind nobody. And I am not the bitch to chase anyone. I will offer you a cup of love. You take it or you don't. Once you've taken it once, you must return the same amount. And if you can't, it is gone and you will never see it again. That was your chance. What my hope is that I wish you well and you do better the next time for the next person. It is your privilege for me to come into your life, not mine, because I come with great qualities, because I am a good brother, I am a good son. I would be a great boyfriend. I've been a great friend. And it's all gone unappreciated. This is why I need people to understand their worth and their value, what's worth their time and what is worth not having around. Because it's so often that people will come up with excuses. You. No one is looking inward. No one is looking and thinking, what could I have done differently? What could I have said? And not the fakery, not the fake, I'm sorry's, just so that things will go back to, I'm just going to apologize to you just so I can continue to do what I'm doing. I know you want to hear sorry, but I'm not really sorry. Here's the thing. I talked to another person at my job. He told me, there's nothing wrong with running away. I think there's no shame in that because I run away from my problems. I said, no, that's not who I am. I have to face a problem head on. Because if you don't, here's the thing. When you get done doing all that running, that problem is still there. And it's going to look you in the face until you handle it. So my thing is, nothing is going to stress me out. Nothing is going to make me uncomfortable. If there's a problem, you need to go. You're not going to stay there. You have to go immediately. But for everyone, that takes work, that takes courage, that takes power. That most of these people I see, and too many of these people in our world, they don't have that. They don't have the strength to face their problems. No one has the strength to say, hey, I value our connection. I'm sorry for what I did. How do we fix it? How do we move on from here? No, because it's easier to run away than it is to look in the mirror and face your flaws. But when you do all this running, you're still no better than where you were. You haven't changed. People are afraid and unwilling to move forward. And I can't stand a person who's not willing to do the work, who is stubborn. Stubbornness, insecurity, jealousy, hatred, those are ugly colors, very ugly colors. And it does not make a person. It doesn't make a becoming person. I think since the pandemic, the way I say it, I think that the way that COVID has destroyed the way we communicate with each other, the way that people will hide behind things, it didn't affect me because I was still out and about. You know, those were tough times for me. You know, with family and making a ways, as it was for most people. But it wasn't devastating for me. But what really, you know, just because it wasn't devastating, I still had the means to communicate with people. But not everyone had that luxury. And in not having that luxury, that was the way of the world. And it just stuck. For some people, this is exactly what they've been wanting, to get away and stay away from people. But that's not the way we are meant to be. You know, when I was a child, I think I saw more community. And it's gone. It's gone. But I can't let that be the case for me. No, and I would encourage everyone else. That's the whole reason behind me wanting to start this podcast. We have to be better than this. This is not the way. This is not the world that we should want to live in. A world where people are huddled in bubbles and hiding away and not facing the realities of who they are. I've seen more brokenness in people than I hoped I would in a lifetime. My God, today I've seen more brokenness in more people than I thought I would in a lifetime. I had to say it again, just the realization. And if you all open your eyes and you start to look around the people around you, you really start to see it. You start to see where people could be changing, what they could be doing better, the things they need to start, the things they need to stop, the action that they need to take to get themselves out of the situations that they're in, because there really is no roadblock, right? Spiritually, that's another thing I heard. You'll be surprised to find these blocks that you believe are there are not really there, because it's in the power of the tongue. It's in the power of what you speak to be true. As I've said, And I found in myself the power and proclamation. What I proclaim I will do. I have these things. So anyone who says I can't, that's not true. It's really not true. It starts with the mind and the body will follow. That was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, but it's so true. So when you start to see these people around you who refuse to change, don't want to change, and they have the excuse that I can't or this or that, it's not true. You have the potential to do better for yourself, and it starts with you. Be that example as I strive to be that example, because that's my purpose on this earth, is to inspire and motivate. And I need for everyone else to feel that type of energy and go out and spread it in the world. Right? Because this is not the way that this world is supposed to look, where everyone is just to themselves. You can only do that for so long. I understand that, again, everyone's been through their own things, their own problems. My thing is that cannot continue to be the same excuse, right? There is a line. Eventually, a line has to be drawn in the sand. And, it just really makes me think, I hope, people come to me, and I've seen it in my life. I've seen people come before me and they say, I've never met anyone like you. You're so this, you're so nice, you're so sweet. You're a good person, you're a pleasant person. I've inspired and motivated many others, as I hope to do with this podcast. Right? That is my purpose. Right? Some people envy me. Some people are jealous. Some people aspire. Some people, look up to me. These are things that I thought I would never be worthy of, because when I was a child, I thought that my voice didn't matter. I thought who I was not important. But now I stepped into my truth and I live in it. And I realize what I'm here to do and the good that I can bring to others. But here's the thing. If I bring it before you, it's really in your best interest to try and make an effort to grow with me, to come with me. Because if you can't offer the same thing back, you're going to regret it. You're going to be sad that I've left your lives. Because everyone that I have come in contact with, they do feel upset that I've left their lives. The way I feel is, I hope you hurt. Right? Now that's controversial, but you haven't heard the full story. I hope they hurt, not because I pleasure in seeing people's pain, not because I pleasure in seeing people unhappy. It's because what I want you to do is I want you to reflect. I want you to feel this uncomfortable feeling, and I want you to go inward and think, why do I feel this way? What happened here? What could have gone differently? Right? Oh man, I wish things were, next time I need to, that's what I want you to hurt, because I want you to think. Where do you need to do right? Where do you need to do better? What could you do differently in the next friendship, the next connection that you have? I don't want to be in the mindset of people have numbers above their heads. And however, whatever that number is, when it gets down to 0, we are no longer talking. I don't want to have that mindset anymore. I take it as it comes. I take connections and lives and the moments and experiences as they are meant to happen. Right? But if you come into my life, or I come into yours, and you can't appreciate what's before you, it will be gone. I just pray and hope that you do better the next time, because not everyone is going to be as loving, accepting, and patient. And don't mistake every relationship that's just so wonderful and grand to be divinely guided, because sometimes what most of you all don't understand is there's a such thing as trauma bonding, because you've both been hurt. that you all should get together. That's not meaningful, and neither one of you are going to grow from that. No, I was brought here to show you how to grow. Take my hand, not someone. If the blind lead the blind, which one is wrong? Right? That's what Letticy said. Right? In forgiveness. Forgiveness. Something we all need to have a little of, but some things some people aren't deserving of until, right? The way I see it is until you've learned your lesson. That's when the rest of the pieces fall in place. You cannot have the prize until you've worked for it, dearest. You're not deserving of it. That'll make no sense to me. And the same way Corey told me, he said, he can't be mad when people leave his life. People leave his life. Because you did it to yourself. You push people away from you. You feel that you're not worthy of love. When all you have to do is step out on faith, then you're going to continue to get what you put out. That's another thing. I see my life before me in these same patterns. I used to be where he's at. I see it. But it starts in stepping out on faith, taking a chance, keeping the faith, and speaking what you want into existence. And there it shall be. I see it. I see it clear as day. You know, I would be pained a lot of times to remove people from my life and then still cross paths with them and see them, because you can't get over the laughs, the connection, the spark that you shared, right? But lately I realize it's best that you go. And I am a very emotional person, but I feel like thinking with logic, thinking sensibly is something that is so essential. So you have to disconnect your feelings sometimes, because you cannot continue to give where someone is not giving back. So when I pass these people, I don't feel emotions anymore, right? A connection that I tried to grow from a seedling just never sprouted and would never grow any taller than half an inch, if it grew at all, right? So you leave it. You leave it where it's at. And the next time you cross it, you can't think much of it, because it was never going to grow beyond what it was. There's nothing else to be done. So I don't think much of it. I cross these people and I don't feel anything. The only thing I may feel is that I wish things could have been different. But that's not up to me, dearest. That's up to you, whether or not you want to come with me. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that bitch drink. My thing is, once I lead the horse to the water and it doesn't want to drink, I will continue on foot. And the horse can stay there if it chooses. Or you can follow me if you want. But if you decide to follow me, I will not hold that rope. I will not hold that lead. You go at your own pace. This is my path. I tried. You chose not to drink from it. But the emotions are gone. The feelings are gone. You have to leave these people in their wallowing mess. Right? But my purpose, my point, and what I wanted to do this podcast for is, my hope is that you all see where you could be better. Focus and pay attention to what happens in your life. Make moves accordingly. Do better. See the people around you that could be better. Encourage them to come along. Some people will. Some people will be there for a little while, and some people won't. But it's about that effort. It's about taking accountability. It's about being honest. That's something that I lead with. Nothing about me is fake. And every action is predetermined, calculated, and decided on. Right? And there's been many times when I have said I want to give up on trying to build these connections, but I can't be like the same people that I'm so tired of seeing. I've wanted to give up, but something in my soul forbids me from giving up. If you can't provide me with the love that I need, then I will find someone who can. Right? But in the meantime, I'm not going to hold resentment. I'm not going to hold anger unless you've wronged me. Right? But I will leave you where you're at. So once again, I thank you all for listening. I hope that you all gain something from this, if not just to enjoy personal stories, but I hope that you can relate to it in some way. That's something I say in all of my art. In everything that I make, there's a purpose and there's a message. And I truly believe that what I say and do can change the world. And I hope that it touches some of you, if just one of you, just 3 of you, anyone who listens. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one.